Welcome to Mining Now at MIMO 2019 in Kamloops, BC, Canada, if you're watching outside of Canada. We are brought to you by CIM and Crownsman Partners to put together mining experts, leaders, innovators. That is what Mining Now is all about. And today we have Jessica Steeves, who is a geological engineer and works for Teck at Highland Valley Copper. So we're very excited to have you on, Jessica. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to be discussing this is going to be different than some of the shows because we're talking more about your career, your role at Teck, some of the diversity at Teck, and then we're going to cover kind of a broader range, but more on your experience. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit of a different thing.
Yeah, totally. I'm excited.
We kind of drug you in just today. I think you just found out you were doing
I did this morning. Yeah.
It's better to do the interview that way because then you don't have time to worry about it.
Yeah, I didn't overthink it at all.
Exactly.
We're just going with it.
So how long have you been with Teck? Highland Valley Copper, it's probably in Canada one of the most well-known mines. It's been around for years. How long have you been with them?
I've been with Teck for just over 3 years, and you're right. They are the largest diversified Canadian mining company, and it is a privilege to work for them. I started my career in consulting and have worked for a ton of different firms, and I've really enjoyed my time with Teck.
So are you on site at Highland Valley Copper?
I am, yeah. So I'm based in Kamloops. The workforce for Highland Valley comes in from all over the interior, Kamloops, Merritt, Ashcroft, but a large portion of us live in Kamloops and commute.
Yeah. Was that just on a personal level, was that pretty exciting, the day that you get told, yeah, I'm going ahead and I'm going to be working for this?
It was really exciting,
company.
and it was kind of funny. I remember I was up at Red Chris doing a camp rotation, and I found out I got the job and had to hand in my letter while I was in camp, and then I came home and I had a weekend, and then I had to start, and it was pretty crazy, but it was really exciting. So definitely worth the kind of hectic time there to take the opportunity.
Yeah, it's an amazing company, just the amount of jobs that it provides and the economy, and it's amazing. And I wanted to talk about your role at Teck, and I know you shift around a bit with what you're doing, and obviously working your way up through the company. But so I saw when I was looking at your outline, it's equipment supervision, pit control, autonomous systems as a supervisor.
Yes.
So can you walk through, starting with equipment supervision, what is that role at a site like Highland Valley?
So I actually, before even equipment supervision, I started in the Tailings and Water Department as a geological engineer. I managed projects and kind of got some experience and made some different connections on site, and then got offered the opportunity to go to mine operations. And so within the pit, there's kind of 4 different supervisor roles on each crew. So my first role was equipment supervision. And so essentially for that role, you're in charge of maintaining our haul roads, our load faces, and our dumps to ensure that they meet the BC Mines Code. So I was in charge of kind of allocating our resources in terms of dozers, loaders, graders, having kind of face-to-face conversations with my crew on the ground, and making sure that we were accomplishing everything safely and productively.
So who are you? So you have people that report to you, and then you're reporting to. Now, is this also the mining? What did you just call them? I'm sorry.
It's like our frontline kind of workers, our crew, basically. Dozer, loaders, graders. It also consists of our haul truck drivers, shovel operators, drillers. They're kind of what comprise our crews.
And then you're also making sure that all those things are in compliance with the
Mines Code.
The Mining's Code.
Yes.
And then are you dealing with the government as well on that? Or
only sometimes if I'm roped in, like when they come to do a site tour, then I'll interact with them. But typically they coordinate with my kind of boss or my boss's boss sort of thing.
Yeah. I go to lots of mining events. There's definitely women in the industry.
Yes.
But it's not 50-50 by any stretch.
No, definitely not.
And there's an age category and everything as well.
Yes.
So you are you're one of the first female supervisors in Teck.
Yeah.
And so your role, one of the first. That's sort of an interesting thing. And young too,
I'm definitely a stark contrast to the other guys that I supervise with. I'm short, I'm young, and I'm female, but it's been a really supportive environment. And for me, just taking the time to build relationships with my crew and have a lot of one-on-one interactions and just kind of build those relationships, that mutual respect, and collaborate with them has allowed me to be really successful in a challenging situation for sure.
Do you adapt? Do you consciously adapt being young female in an industry which is just built off of a lot older men running these companies, and that Did you have to make conscious decisions to adapt?
Yes, I definitely put a lot of thought into how I wanted to approach this challenge. And for me, I knew that if I built kind of individual relationships with different members of my crew and really understood morale and safety concerns and really kind of acted on different things that people brought to me, that I would gain that respect and they would see that I want to work with them and I have a lot to offer. And so that's kind of the approach I took instead of coming in and, I'm an engineer and I got this.
Yeah.
That's not a really good approach to take. And I've definitely seen others take it. But I think really just focusing on being collaborative and listening and then kind of making sure there's that two-way conversation has really helped me be successful.
So in a way, not to put words in your mouth, but you're sort of going in there with an openness, willing to learn.
Yeah,
which now and
definitely.
People like to share their knowledge.
Definitely.
So that just opens up the door. Then.
And I've been really fortunate. Like some of my mentors, they have 30 years in the industry, and I'm really grateful that they've taken the time to try to pass some of that on to me before they ultimately retire.
Is it different when you get the job, you get started a job like a Highland Valley Copper, working for Teck, and then you get put in these roles as a supervisor and that, and what you expect it to be? How different is it from what it becomes?
I mean, it's kind of funny. I remember one of the kind of coolest conversations I had was actually with one of our shovel operators when I was kind of learning the ropes of everything and getting up on some of the different equipment and just kind of learning like what the struggles are for the front line. And she was telling me, there will be challenges in this job, but you all have each other's backs. And like as supervisors, like you do really stand together and work together. And I kind of went into it like, this is a challenge, I got to do this, but then I realized like I have a whole team with me we're standing together and we're making sure our crew's working safely and productively together. And that was kind of cool that I didn't really think about going into it. So that was kind of an unexpected, exciting part of the whole experience.
When you come in to a role like that, there is obviously the things you learn that you've talked about and how you approach it, but also you need support.
Yes.
You get a company that puts you in a role like that, and they know that you don't fit the stereotypical mold. And what sort of support do you get from a company it's so big, so they have to really make a conscious decision to support you? What kind of support do you get from the sort of the higher ups in a large organization like Teck?
I have gotten a lot of mentorship, which I'm really grateful for, and some of it I've sought out and some of it has been offered to me, which has been really great. But there's high level people at the mine that I can text or call if there's something I'm kind of trying to work through or maybe I'm not sure of. And a lot of the other supervisors are great. They've given, they're so happy to pass on knowledge and they really see the benefits of having, different supervisors that have inherently different skills and different things to bring to the table, you know what I mean? So they're really open to kind of investing in me and others as well. So I've felt very supported, which has been awesome.
Yeah. No, and it's good to see. And I think just from a future standpoint of mining, you do need to get young people in. You do need to get women into the workforce in the mining sectors. Just if for nothing else, for a selfish reason, for the mining industry, so that it grows stronger and it has more points of view. It has better relations with the communities. It's just there's so many advantages to it.
Definitely. And that's the thing. Like any business benefits from diversity. And I mean, as humans, we're always drawn to things that are easy and change is hard. But often the easiest solution isn't the best. And when you have different perspectives and different people and different ideas, you'll ultimately get a better solution at the end of the day, even if it's a little harder to get to.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to your just your career journey. I think where did you start again?
So I started at a company called BGC Engineering, which is a geotechnical consulting firm. So I started there right out of school and did a variety of projects, underground mine design. I did some dam construction supervision, geotechnical drilling for an open pit pushback design, well installs, like all over the map. Lots of great experience, and I got to travel all over BC to different mines to do that work.
So were you doing the design then?
At that time, you bet. So I was a junior engineer, and there's obviously in consulting there's multiple levels of review, and I collected a lot of the field data because I was a junior, so I got to go and log the core and all that fun stuff, and then did that for just under 3.5 years, and then ultimately ended up going to Teck.
A question I didn't have it. Surprisingly, I didn't even have it in front of me to ask, but why go into that field as a geological engineer? What made you decide to go down that road?
So it's kind of funny. My father is an electrical engineer. My grandfather is a civil engineer. And when I was in grade 12, I was not going to be an engineer. I wanted to rebel and go against, the generational. I'd be third generation, and I was like, I'm not doing this. But then obviously I was so drawn to math and science, and I liked the practicality of engineering and just the problem-solving skills it offered. And so I went into engineering, and I did general first year. So we kind of got a taste of all the different disciplines, and I had never considered geological engineering until I did geology in first year. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. So that's ultimately why I decided to go that route.
I saw these, again, going through your profile, the underground mine design, and I got a bit of a soft spot for underground mining. I just like it.
Okay,
it's just neat. I like the equipment. I've worked on a couple scoop trams and all that
fun,
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I just like it.
Scoop trams, yeah.
Yeah. And so what was sort of your role? What's been your role with the underground mine design?
So when I did that work, it was when I was in consulting. And so basically we were given, it was actually a mine in Slovakia. And so we were given a lot of the logging data. And so the senior engineer went over and ensured that how they were quantifying, joint condition, RQD, different things like that matched our standards. So that when we were using that data to ultimately do design work, it all kind of aligned and we were all looking at the same sort of thing, right? And then I used stereo nets and different things, and ultimately we came up with kind of ideal dimensions, and we broke the mine into 2 different zones just based on the rock quality so that they could mine safely in the 2 different kind of areas.
Yeah. I'm curious, going back to when you do your education as opposed to doing that practical hands-on work, how much different is it? Or do you go, oh, I saw this in a textbook, or is most of it new?
Well, it's kind of funny. When I first went and I was using stereo nets and, some of the modeling software we had used in university, I literally thought, wow, this was like my 4th year, design assignment in one of my courses. So, I mean, it's different in the sense like there was the challenges making sure the data was valid and working with the client and kind of different things that obviously we didn't experience at school, but just, some of the technical skills were definitely there from school. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
And you've done now the open pit drilling programs that you've been involved with. Was that through Teck, or was that through a different?
That was through consulting. That was through the initial company, BGC.
So you did all that work. So much of that work was done through that consulting, all these different types.
Yes,
wow.
I know. It was pretty crazy. I was very lucky. What ended up kind of happening after I started was a lot of people kind of got, they were doing things for longer periods of time. Where I started, I was doing this, and I got moved to this and this, and I just felt like I was getting so many, different types of experience. And consulting's great for that. You work really hard, and it does yield a lot of benefits because you just get such a variety.
Yes.
But it is, demanding in terms of your personal life and travel and different things. So
or lack of personal life.
Yeah, well, that too. But when I got the opportunity to get on with Teck and ultimately be in Kamloops and be home, that was.
Oh, so this is hometown.
Well, I moved to Kamloops for consulting, so it was home. It felt more like home then because I'd been there over 3 years.
And speaking of being home, you volunteer. You are, make sure I get it right. You work with CIM locally, and you're the chair of South Central BC for Engineers, Geoscientists BC.
Yes, that's correct.
It's quite a mouthful.
Yeah, I know.
We'll start with the CIM side.
Okay,
what's the volunteer you do with them?
Yeah, you bet. So for the MIMO conference, I was the field trip chair, so I coordinated the tours that are occurring on Wednesdays. So they're both full. Woo, that's exciting.
So I won't be able to get on.
No, unfortunately. I was going to say you could come underground, but it's already full. I'm sorry.
The irony is I've never been underground.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You would love it.
There was a mine shut down. I snuck under.
Oh, did you? That's not a story for this? Okay. Gotcha. But so I do that, and then I've also been involved with the local branch, and our branch is awesome. We're super involved with the community. We've given back over $135,000 since 2016 into the community. So it's been awesome. There's such a good group of people on the executive. I've really enjoyed volunteering with the CIM locally. Yeah. And then with Engineers, Geoscientists BC, so they're our provincial regulator in the province. And so they do kind of a regulatory role, but also an advocacy role for those 2 professions. And so as the chair, I have an executive locally, and we organize technical talks, tours, different opportunities for our members to get professional development hours.
This is with the CIM, right?
Oh, this is Engineers, Geoscientists BC.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And because basically as an engineer, you have to do a certain amount of professional development hours every year just to stay current.
Right.
And so we want to provide really kind of opportunities locally that are cheap or, not, because sometimes courses can be quite expensive.
Very, yeah.
So we try to offer opportunities that are affordable in town for people to get those hours with different technical talks.
Now, is that just something you do independently, or is that tied in with Teck?
It's something I do independently, yeah.
So with that sort of thing, I don't know much about the sorry, is there South Central BC for
It's
engineers.
even just EGBC. That's like.
That's, do you do you still do courses and upgrade things and go through that, or have you already gone through all the processes? And
Yeah,
things
so
they
like
offer?
each year I go to different technical talks, tours. You can read papers on your own time, and then also volunteering with the association. They also consider that like understanding the profession and continuing to be engaged, because the association itself releases different guidelines, so you can be involved with those, like the release and editing of those. There's so many different ways to kind of get that professional development.
Yeah. You looking at your career, you've sort of just progressively moved, and I've interviewed lots of people, and some people have 10 years at one thing and then 10 years, and you've just sort of bang 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 to the next,
Yeah.
and which is absolutely amazing. And sort of what's the vision for you to as you progress in your career? I think you said you got your MBA.
Yeah,
and
recently. Yeah, super exciting. Finally, it's done. Yeah.
Not as easy as you thought it would be, or something
No,
you
you can't
said?
pick it up at the store. It's definitely 3.5 years of part-time hard work for sure. But I mean, I learned a lot from it, and it kind of came at a really good time too. It gave me a lot of skills and helped me understand, organizational change and just like leadership and positional power versus personal power. And ultimately, I brought a lot of that to being a supervisor and just kind of thinking about how I would interact with my crew and make sure that I was like leading them effectively.
Right. And then what's sort of the goal for you to you manage 70 people, I think now,
Yeah,
you said?
around
And
that, yep.
yeah, so and is your goal to stay in the mining industry and grow, and that's sort of the ultimate goal, to stay and grow?
Definitely. I love the industry. Sometimes I just drive around the pit and just watch mining. It is so incredible and so unique. And for me, I really love the people side of it, which I think is why I've been drawn to operations and why I'm really enjoying all the different opportunities I've gotten within that department. And ultimately, longer term, I mean, I got my MBA to go into management longer term, but I'm definitely open to any opportunities, different opportunities. And that's why Teck is so great, because there are so many different opportunities with a company of that size.
Have you seen in even your time with Teck, and Teck is a big operation. There's obviously you don't want to dig into things that are private to Teck, of course, but have you seen just the technological advancement of these major mining operations, even over the last few years? Is it quite amazing to see all that new technology that's coming in?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, as our kind of talk this morning, like just the importance of innovation and leveraging, employees' ideas and creativity just to kind of, make things more efficient, essentially, and safe, ultimately.
And I think it speaks to it speaks to companies advancing, even coming on this show and having someone represent them, a mining companies, an industry that has typically been quite private, but now they are starting to share knowledge, share information, and I think it's such a good sign for the industry itself.
Definitely.
Yeah. Jessica, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it.
Thank
and
you.
short notice as well.
Yes, yeah, that's okay.
Thank you for watching our second episode of Mining Now. We will have links where you can find it at CIM. It'll be on Crownsman Partners. There's lots of places. If you see it, if you're watching this on, let's say, YouTube or listening on a podcast, make sure to subscribe. We will have much, much more coming to you. So thank you again for watching. Thanks again to Jessica for joining.
Thank you.
And we will see you on the next episode.